Good afternoon and welcome back to the garden. It's been a little while since we was here, but the weather's been atrocious. If it hasn't been cold, horrible wind, then it's been rain, very little sunshine, but we got through. Now this week I've got a little bit to show you how I'm getting on with these plants. As you remember, I've got one of the greenhouses out this year. So these have been in the bottom greenhouse. Because I'm getting tight for room now, I've had to bring them up to the shed, and these are obviously the bigger plants that we've got, so they can sit here in the day and at night they go in, and it's quite a job to put them in, but it's well worth it to get that space in the greenhouse. We'll just give you a quick look in the propagator to see how things are doing in there, and then we'll put a mesh on a tunnel, show you the greenhouse. Now I'll just take the covers off and show you how things are doing. I haven't been able to set a lot of seed because even if it comes through, I haven't had the room just yet to get them potted up, but bear with me, we will catch up. Now these are the cucumber fem spot, 4 up to now, but 4 will do, that's a bit plenty. I'm hoping to get at least 1 more. These are the celeriac. They've been a long time germinating, but we got there in the end. This one on this side is celery, Loretta. That's doing quite well, that's come up quite well. My first set of sweet corn, out of a full packet I had 2 seeds germinate, so I've abandoned those and I've reset, and I've brought the next set of a different supplier into the propagator to see if I can germinate them with a little bit of buttermeat. Very disappointing with the sweet corn this year, but we'll try again. These here are the basil. It's doing rather well. I've took it out the propagator now just to get it used to the temperature in the shed, and then I should take it down the greenhouse a couple of days and get them potted up, but keep them in the greenhouse because they're very tender. And these are the bakupa cuttings we took, 42 cuttings, and I think looking round maybe there's just a couple like that haven't taken off, but I think that will actually root given time. So that's not a bad set, and that's not bad for a few cuttings. 47, we'll need all those. And as you can see, there are roots now beginning to come through, so they're not long off being potted now. I'll have to make some more room to put those in there. Cover these up and we'll go and put a mesh on the tunnel that we built last week, but we'll show you how things are doing on the way. Now as you can see, I have covered the double tunnels. There's another one up there that I've got covering the carrots, and the carrots have actually started to germinate at last, so I'm well pleased with that. I'll get some more carrots put in, and I'll also put the cauliflowers, the mini cold cabbage and the Brussels sprouts in the tall tunnel, and I'll get down to film it within the week. This is the tunnel I'm going to cover. It's only a small single one. It's an old cover we're putting on. We'll see if it's got too many holes in, then I'll have to go and fetch another one, but it should be alright for what we want. This will be covering the celeriac and the kohlrabi in this tunnel, so we do really need to cover it, mainly aphid and whitefly. Now I'm going to get on and do it, and hopefully, unless there's a big gust of wind and it all blows away, things should go alright, so bear with me. I've got to find the ends. Now we've pinned the sides and the ends of the net. Now, although the wind stopped now, I did have some blustery bits and Diane had to come and give me a hand because it was flapping about a little. So if you're doing a tunnel, perhaps not on a windy day. The pegs I'm using are these, look. They've been around the tunnels a few times, but these are the better ones because they're more flexible and harder plastic. If at all possible, I do the main ends with these big ones, and then at least you know your ends are going to be held, and then you can pin round them with the smaller ones. So having done that, I'll go round with the smaller pegs and peg it down, and that should be a tunnel done. I'll get it pegged down and then I'll show you the finished thing. All the tunnels are the same way. Pin the ends, pin the sides, and then pin all the bits between with the lighter ones. Just like that. But I don't recommend you doing it on a windy day. Now, yesterday we were doing it, and one of the double sheets, the wind caught it and it actually went on top of the fruit cage, so we had some fun getting that wet. The only thing I say is pin your ends, pin the four corners, then the sides, and then put as many pins as you have around to hold it, because you've got to think of the high winds, etc. But then if it's not quite right, you know, remember we're going to take these off in a few days to plant them, so if it's not quite right now, it will be right. It's got to be right for the crop. Now, I have from the supermarket, we got one of these net tunnels. Very useful. I recommend buying some. If you want a quick cover, they're brilliant. Now, I've put some lettuce in this one, perhaps a bit early, but because of that I've had to find a piece of old fleece that was long enough to put on. If it gets much more wind on it, then I shall have to go and sort another one out. I have actually got another fleece that's a little thicker than this one. I might change it to that one if the wind drags that off. But again, I've used those pegs again that you buy them from the hardware store, little pegs, plastic they are, and they push in quite easily, and they're serrated so they stay in. And then after a few days when you've got your crop in and you've been watering that, as you're walking round, just put your foot on them carefully and tread them in a little bit, and that keeps them firm. Now we'll have a walk down to the bottom greenhouse and show you how we're getting on down there. While we're passing this plot, as you can see, the overwintered onions are still not looking at the best. Maybe not make it, but we'll see. The garlic is starting to get rust on it now, which I thought it would with all the wet weather that it's had, and I'm still getting those where the leaf has encircled the next leaf. But we'll just get a crop if we get a crop. If not, then we'll start again, probably get some beans in here. Now the broad beans in their net, they're standing well. I did have to put some slug pellets down because the slugs had actually eaten one and started on the next one, but they seem to have stopped now, so they should be alright. In this little polythene greenhouse, as you can see, the Brussels sprouts are ready. I did have an aphid attack, but I have sprayed and I've got rid of those now. The little greenhouse is doing alright, but I don't know if you can see here, it's started to split already, look. So what I have to do is put some tape on there just to hold that. Both sides have gone, both where the strings are that hold this up. It's doing its job. Now we're in the greenhouse. As you can see, it's plenty full. Still quite a bit of potting to do, but I'm having to shuffle things about and take them up to the shed so I can get more room for the vegetable plants. These group here, this group here, ready to go up to the shed, and then I can put some more veg there. Again, these are waiting. I don't think I'm going to get all those in the shed, but I will have to thin them down to give them more room to grow. Can't grow them all tight as that. Now, we haven't forgotten the begonias. They've took a long time, but they're beginning to grow. We'll soon be able to, I'll probably have to get Diane to do it because my hands are far too big, to take the bigger ones out and get them potted and then grow them on a little. But they are there, and they are our own seed. So, but the seed we bought, it actually, it just rotted off and died when it got to very, very small. But that's good, we'll do that again. Now the busy lizzies, they're doing very well. I've put them on the top now so they get more light, but I do have to cover down well at night. So they're in tens, 10, 20, 30, 40. I got 50 plants like this, which, not bad, they'll do. Can you remember our little tray of cuttings that we took? They're all, as you can see, they're in clear pots, so you can see, well rooted down now. They're the petunias, the geraniums we lost one, and the fuchsias we lost one. So that's not so bad. But as well as that, I took another tray of petunias. These are all mixed actually, different varieties. But as you can see, they're rooting well. I did put them in the prop just to give them a week or two and then brought them down here. I won't pop them yet, we'll have a bit more root than that. Now, as you can see, the tomatoes are doing very well. There's several different varieties in here. But what I've been doing, I've been potting them on. These are now got to their final pot, which is 2 litre. And what I'm looking at is the stem. Now oops, that's not good. If you don't get them potted on quick enough, this is still in a 1 litre. Look how thin the stem is to that. And what I find is, once these thin stems have set, it's there for the whole life of your plant while you're cropping it. So you've got a very thin stem and a big crop on top, because these will widen. And now if you can grow them on, you'll get a good thick stem. And look at that one up there. Very nice stem. So that will produce quite well, because you can get more moisture, food up to the plants. As soon as I've got some room, I do pot as many on as possible, because even while the young plants, the younger ones will fatten up if you get them in a little bit bigger pot. I only water from the bottom now. These are in trays, and that just helps. Pouring water on the top all the time, very difficult with the cans, so it's easier, just pop it in there and then soak it up. That's one of the trailing petunias we've got. It's quite pretty, but I've took some cuttings off it, and now as you can see it's gone into flower. You don't get many more cuttings off that. And that the Cooper we've got up there, those 47 cuttings was all taken off that, and it's revived from all those cuttings, and it's coming quite well. Now I've just noticed that the beetroot started to germinate now. I was beginning to think this wasn't going to germinate this year, but it looks a good crop coming through. Quite pleased with that. And then thin them down so there's like one plant to a cell, and that makes putting them out there a lot easier. Now for next week, we'll try and get all those brassicas planted into those tunnels. Di will film it so you can see what I'm up to, and I'll try and get some more carrots in. Now they're germinating. I couldn't believe it, I had to look twice. So we got carrots germinating, so we can now put some more in to get follow-ons for later in the season. We'll get as much in as possible that we've got ready, and then we can start again setting the seed through. So that'll be it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it from my very congested greenhouse. Take care everyone. If it's cold, keep warm. If it's in the sunshine, I'm jealous. Take care everyone. See you next week. Bye now.